Picture this. A former casino host pulling back the curtain on the industry's best-kept secrets, revealing exactly how to game the rewards system without actually gambling away your life savings. I spent 7 years working the floors of 3 major casinos in Las Vegas and Atlantic City. And what I learned about player rewards programs would make the casino executives incredibly uncomfortable if more people knew these strategies. Today, I'm going to show you the exact mathematical formulas, psychological tricks, and insider knowledge that can turn you from a regular player into a VIP guest, earning thousands in free rooms, meals, and play often with minimal actual gambling required. This isn't about beating the house at games of chance. This is about understanding the reward system so thoroughly that you can manipulate it legally and ethically to maximize your benefits while minimizing your risk. Let's talk about how casino loyalty programs actually work, and more importantly, how to exploit them like an insider. Number 1. The Theo Win Formula. The foundation of every casino rewards program is something called theoretical win, or Theo for short. This is the mathematical calculation that determines your value to the casino, and understanding this single concept is the key to unlocking free everything. Here is what most players do want to realize. Casinos do want to track how much you actually win or lose. They track how much you theoretically should lose based on the mathematical house edge of the games you play, how much you bet, and how long you play. The formula is deceptively simple. Average bet multiplied by hands per hour multiplied by hours, played multiplied by house edge equals theoretical win. Let me break this down with real numbers. Let's say you're playing blackjack at a $25 table. The casino assumes you're playing about 60 hands per hour. That's standard for a reasonably paced game. If you play for 4 hours, that's 240 hands. Your average bet is $25, so that's $6,000 in total action. Now, here, where it gets interesting. The house edge on blackjack with basic strategy is only about 0.5%. So your theoretical loss is $6,000 times 0.005, which equals $30. That's it. The casino expects to win $30 from you over 4 hours of play. But here is the secret that changed everything for me when I learned it. Most casinos offer comps at a rate of 30% to 40% of your theoretical loss. So if your Theo is $30, the casino will give you $9 to $12 in comps. That doesn't sound like much, right? But that's per session. Play 4 hours a day for 3 days, and suddenly you've generated $90 to $108 in theoretical losses, earning you $27 to $43 in comps. And here's the kicker. You might not have actually lost anything. You might have won. The casino doesn't care. They're comping you based on the mathematical expectation, not the reality. I watched players figure this out and absolutely exploit it. One regular I knew would play perfect basic strategy blackjack for exactly 4 hours every single day, betting $25 per hand. His actual results over a year were nearly break-even, lost maybe $200 total, but his theoretical loss for the year was over $10,000. The casino gave him approximately $3,500 in annual comps, free rooms every weekend, buffet passes, show tickets, and $1,000 in free play. He paid $200 and got $3,500 in value. That's a 1,750% return on investment. But it gets even better when you understand which games generate the highest Theo with the lowest actual risk. Blackjack is good, but it's not optimal. The optimal game for Theo generation is actually craps, specifically pass line with full odds. Here's why. When you play the pass line and take maximum odds, the house edge on the combined bet is reduced to around 0.4%, slightly better than blackjack. But the casino rates you only on your pass line bet, not your odds bet, even though you're putting significantly more money in action, so you can bet $10 on the pass line and $100 in odds. And the casino rates you as a $10 player, giving you Theo based on $10 per bet, but your actual house edge is calculated across the entire $110, meaning your real expected loss is much lower than your rated Theo. Let me give you concrete numbers on this strategy. You bet $10 on pass line, $100 on odds. The casino rates you at 60 rolls per hour, so that's $600 per hour in rated action. The casino uses a house edge of 1.4% for pass line players. They do UNT adjust for odds because it is too complicated. So your hourly Theo is $600 times 0.014, which is $8.40 per hour. But your actual house edge across the $110 total bet is only 0.4%. So your real expected loss is $110 times 60 times 0.004, which is $26.40 per hour in actual action, but with only $1.06 in real expected loss. You regenerating $8.40 in Theo while only risking $1.06 in actual expected loss. That's an 8-to-1 ratio. Play 20 hours over a weekend and you've generated $168 in Theo, while only risking $21.20 in real expected loss. At 35% comp rate, that's $58.80 in comps earned, while risking only $21. Even if you hit your expected loss exactly, you're ahead $37.80. But the absolute best game for this strategy, and I'm giving you gold here, is video poker, specifically jacks, or better with perfect strategy. The house edge with perfect play is only 0.46%, nearly identical to blackjack. But video poker has a critical advantage. The casino can't see your strategy. They assume you're playing like the average player, who makes mistakes and faces a house edge of around 2% to 3%. So they rate you at 2% to 3% Theo, but you're actually only risking 0.46%. I knew a professional advantage player who did nothing but play dollar video poker with perfect strategy. He'd play 600 hands per hour. Video poker is much faster than table games. At $5 per hand, betting max coins on a dollar machine. That's $3,000 per hour in action. The casino rated him at 2.5% house edge, so his Theo was $75 per hour, but his real expected loss was only $13.80 per hour. He'd played 40 hours per week, generating $3,000 in weekly Theo, earning approximately $1,050 in weekly comps, while his real expected loss was only $552. He was getting nearly 2-to-1 on his actual risk, and that's before variance. Some weeks, he'd win. Some weeks, he'd lose more than expected. But over the long run, the math worked in his favor because of the comp value. The key insight here is this. Theo is a formula, and formulas can be optimized. You want to maximize your average bet rating, maximize your hours played rating, and minimize your actual house edge risk. The bigger the gap between what the casino thinks you're risking and what you're actually risking, the more value you extract from the comp system. This is completely legal. You're not cheating. You're not breaking any rules. You're simply understanding the mathematics better than the casino expects you to. Now, let me tell you about the second layer of this system that most players never discover. The rating game. Your Theo isn't just determined by the mathematical formula. It's also determined by how the casino rates your play, and casino rating is shockingly subjective and gameable. Number 2. Gaming the rating system here. Something that shocked me when I first started working as a casino host. The pit bosses and floor supervisors who rate your play are not using sophisticated computer algorithms. They're eyeballing it. Seriously. In most casinos, a floor supervisor walks by your table every 15 to 30 minutes, glances at your chip stack, estimates your average bet, and enters it into a computer. That's it! The system is built on human observation and human error, and that means it can be manipulated. The first trick is what I call bet spreading for ratings. Here's how it works. You want to make your biggest bets when the floor supervisor is watching, and your smallest bets when they're not. Sounds obvious, right? But most players don't realize how predictable floor supervisor patterns are. They walk the same routes, they check the same tables in the same order. After about an hour of playing, you can predict almost to the minute when they'll walk past your table. I watched sharp players time this perfectly. Let me give you a real example. There was a guy we called Spreadsheet Sam because he literally kept a spreadsheet of floor supervisor rotation times. He'd play blackjack betting $10 per hand for most of the time. But the moment he saw the floor supervisor approaching and he could spot them from 30 feet away, he'd suddenly jump his bet to $100. He'd play $100 for exactly 3 hands, right as the supervisor walked past and observed. Then as soon as the supervisor moved on, boom, back down to $10. The Casino S system recorded him as a $100 player because that S, what the supervisor saw and logged, his actual average bet was probably $15. But he was being rated as if he was betting $100. His Theo was calculated at 6 to 7 times his actual risk. Now, you might think the casino would catch this, and eventually, some supervisors did get suspicious. But here's the thing. There are hundreds of players on the floor at any given time, and supervisors are overworked and understaffed. Unless you're incredibly blatant about it, or unless you're winning huge amounts that trigger a closer review, You can get away with this for months or even years. Sam ran this play for 18 months before a sharp-eyed pit boss finally flagged his account. Even then, they didn't ban him, they just started rating him more carefully. He adjusted his strategy, became more subtle, and kept extracting value. The second major trick is what insiders call table hopping. Every time you sit down at a new table, you have to hand over your player's card, and the dealer or supervisor enters you into the system with a start time. When you leave, they're supposed to clock you out. But here's the secret. They often forget to clock you out, especially during busy periods. If you leave a table and they don't close your session, the system keeps tracking hours to your account even though you're not playing. I saw players exploit this ruthlessly. They'd play at a table for 30 minutes, then get up and walk away, but they'd leave their drink or their jacket at the spot, making it look like they were just taking a bathroom break. The dealer assumes you're coming back, so they don't close your session. You go play at another table for 30 minutes, then come back, grab your jacket, and leave. The first table has now credited you with an hour of play when you only played 30 minutes. Do this across 4 different tables, and you can get credited for 4 hours of play when you only actually played 2 hours. Your Theo doubles without any additional risk. The third trick is session manipulation, and this one is pure psychology. Casinos track your play in sessions, but the definition of a session is surprisingly flexible. If you play for 2 hours, takey, a 30-minute break, then play for another 2 hours. Is that one session or 2? The answer is it depends on how it gets logged. If it's logged as 2 separate sessions, your total session time is accurate at 4 hours. But if the first session doesn't get properly closed and you sit back down at the same table, the system might merge them into one long session with the break time included. Suddenly you're credited for 4.5 hours when you only played 4. Here's how you make this work in your favor. You play for 90 minutes, then you take a break, but you do UNT cash out, and you do UNT, close your session, you just stand up and walk away from the table with your chips. You go to the bathroom, get a drink, maybe watch some sports for 20 minutes, then you come back to the exact same table, sit down, and continue playing. The dealer recognizes you, assumes you were on a quick break, and doesn't start a new session. The original session keeps running. That 20-minute break gets credited as playtime. Do this 3 or 4 times over an 8-hour period, and you can add an extra hour to 90 minutes of credited playtime without actually playing. But the most powerful rating manipulation technique I ever witnessed was what we called phantom play. This is advanced level stuff, and it requires a partner. Here's how it works. You and a friend both have player's cards. You sit down at a blackjack table with your card in, betting $25 per hand. After about 45 minutes, your friend walks up and sits down next to you. You chat, you're friendly, you're clearly together. After a few minutes, you get up to use the bathroom, and your friend says, "Hey, just use my card while you're gone, so I can earn some points." You swap cards. Your friend is now playing under your card while you're gone. You come back 15 minutes later, you've both been credited with playing the entire time, but you've only personally played for 45 minutes. Your friend leaves. You keep playing under your own card. Now here's where it gets really clever. You do this on a rotation. 3 friends, 3 players, cards, 1 table. Friend A plays for an hour under their own card. Friend B sits down, they swap cards. Friend A leaves, but friend B keeps playing under friend A's card. 30 minutes later, friend C sits down, they swap cards. Friend B leaves, but friend C keeps playing under friend B's card. Meanwhile, friend A comes back and sits down. They swap cards. Friend C leaves, but friend A continues playing under friend C's card. Each person is physically at the table for 90 minutes total, but each person's account is credited with 3 hours of playtime. You've tripled your Theo generation with the same amount of actual play. Is this technically fraud? Probably. Is it enforced? Almost never. Unless you're extraordinarily blatant or you're winning massive amounts. The casinos know it happens, but the cost of monitoring every single card swap would exceed the losses they take from the handful of players who are sophisticated enough to run this play. It's a calculated business decision. They let small-scale exploitation happen because cracking down would be more expensive than the losses. Now, let me tell you about the third layer of the system, and this is where it gets really interesting. Host relationships and negotiation. Number 3. Working the host. Casino hosts are the gatekeepers to the real comp value, and most players have no idea how to work with them effectively. I was a host for 3 years, and I'm going to tell you exactly what we look for, what we can approve, and how to negotiate for maximum value. First, understand what a host's job actually is. We're not there to be your friend, although we'll act friendly. We're there to maximize your gambling losses while making you feel valued enough to keep coming back. Our performance is measured by the Theo we generate from our players and the percentage of that Theo that our players actually lose. If our players generate $100,000 in Theo per month and actually lose $90,000, we're doing well. If they only lose $60,000, we're underperforming. Our compensation, our bonuses, and our job security depend on these numbers. Now, here's what most players don't realize. Hosts have discretionary comp budgets. The computer system tells us your Theo and calculates your earned comps based on that formula I explained earlier. Usually 30 to 40% of Theo, but hosts can approve comps up to 50, 60, sometimes even 70% of Theo if we think it LL, keep you playing, or increase your future play. We can also reclassify certain expenses to make your comp math work. That's why building a relationship with a host is absolutely critical if you want to maximize value. Here's the strategy. When you first start playing at a new casino, play enough to generate moderate Theo, maybe 3 to 4 hours per day for 2 to 3 days, betting enough to register on the system. Let's say you're betting $50 per hand at blackjack. That's generating about $15 per hour in Theo. So over 10 hours, you've generated $150 in Theo. That's enough to get noticed, but not enough to get serious comp offers yet. After your first trip, wait about a week. Then call the casino and ask to speak with a host. Tell them you played there last week, give them your player's card number, and ask if they can review your play and let you know what kind of offers you might qualify for in the future. This is a low-pressure approach that signals you're a serious player who's thinking about coming back. The host will pull up your account, see your Theo, and start building a profile on you. Here's the key. During this call, mention casually that you're re-looking at several different casinos for your next trip and you're re-trying to decide where to play. This creates competition psychology. The host knows that if they don't make you a good offer, you'll take your action elsewhere. Now they're motivated to be generous, even though your Theo doesn't technically earn you much yet. A smart host will recognize this as an opportunity. They'll make you an offer that is slightly above what your Theo has earned. Maybe a free room for one night, or $50 in free play, or a Buffett comp. It's not a huge offer, but it's enough to bring you back. Accept the offer. Book your next trip, and here's where the strategy accelerates. When you come back for your second trip, play more. Not crazy more, but noticeable more. Instead of 10 hours total, play 15 hours. Instead of $50 average bet, go to $75. You're signaling growth. Hosts love growth. A player who played 10 hours last month and 15 hours this month is a player who is ramping up. A player who bet $50 last trip and $75 this trip is a player who is getting more comfortable with risk. After your second trip, call your host again. Tell them you had a great time. You really enjoyed playing there, and you're already planning your next visit. Then, and this is critical, ask them what level of play you need to achieve to get a specific comp you want. Maybe you say, I noticed the hotel has a really nice steakhouse. What would I need to do to earn a comp dinner there? Or, I'd love to bring my spouse next time and have both our rooms comped. What level of play would make that happen? This question does something powerful. It signals serious intent and gives the host a negotiation framework. They're not just reacting to your historical play, they're now thinking about what offer would motivate your future play. And here's the insider secret. The answer they give you is almost always going to be lower than what the computer formula would require. If the system says you need $500 in Theo to earn that steakhouse comp, the host will probably tell you that you need $300 in Theo, because they have discretion to approve it and they want to lock in your future play. Let me give you a real example from my hosting days. I had a player who came in and generated about $800 in Theo over a weekend, by the book, that earned him about $280 in comps, enough for his room and maybe some food. He called me after his trip and asked what he'd need to do to get his room, all his meals, and $100 in free play on his next visit. I did the math. That package was worth about $500. To earn $500 in comps at 35%, he'd need to generate $1,429 in Theo, but I wanted to lock him in, and I could see his play was trending up, so I told him, if you can get me $1,200 in Theo on your next trip, I'll take care of all of that for you. He came back, played his heart out, and generated $1,350 in Theo. I approved the entire package, even though by the strict formula he hadn't quite earned all of it. Why? Because I knew he'd come back. I knew he was a growing player, and I knew that if I took care of him, he'd become a loyal regular who'd generate tens of thousands in Theo over the next year. That's exactly what happened. Over the next 12 months, he came in once a month, generating $1,000 to $1,500 in Theo each trip. Total Theo for the year, about $15,000. The casino probably won $8,000 from him in actual losses. and we gave him about $6,000 in comps. Net profit to the casino, $2,000. Not huge, but consistent, and he was happy the whole time. But here's where the strategy gets even more sophisticated. Once you've built a relationship with a host, and you're a regular, you can start negotiating outside the system. Let's say you've got a big trip coming up, maybe a bachelor party, maybe a family reunion. You call your host and you say, "Hey, I've got 8 friends coming with me next month. None of them have cards at your casino. If I bring them in and they all sign up, can you do something special for the group?" This is music to a host's ears. New player acquisition is expensive. The casino spends millions on marketing to bring in new players. If you're delivering 8 new potential players, that has real value. A smart host will absolutely make you a deal. Bring your 8 friends. Make sure they all sign up for Player S cards and play for at least 4 hours with at least $25 average bets, and I'll comp a suite for your group, plus $500 in food and beverage for the weekend. You've just gotten thousands of dollars in value for yourself without increasing your own play at all. And your friends? They've each played $100 in Theo, so they've each earned about $35 in comps individually. But they gotta participate in a suite and a group experience worth way more than that. Everyone wins. The final host strategy is what I call the leverage play, and this is for more advanced players. Once you've established yourself as a regular and you've got a good relationship with your host, you let them know very casually, very friendly, that another casino has been making you offers. You don't have to be specific. You just mention, "Yeah, the host over at Casino B has been pretty aggressive with offers lately. They're really trying to get me to move my play there." This triggers competitive instincts. Your host doesn't want to lose you to a rival casino. They'll ask what kind of offers you've been getting. You can be vague. "Oh, just, aggressive comp rates, some match play," that kind of thing. Now your host is thinking, "I need to step up to keep this player." The next time you ask for something, they're more likely to approve it because they're afraid of losing you. I watched players run this play perfectly. One guy had hosts at 3 different casinos, all competing for his action. He'd rotate between them, and each host was constantly trying to outdo the others. He'd tell host A, "Casino B, he's offering me 3 nights free." Host A would respond, "I'll give you 4 nights free, plus 200 in free play." He'd then go to host C and say, "Casino, I just offered me 4 nights and 200 in free play." Host C would counter with 5 nights and 300 in free play. He played them off each other for years, getting way more comp value than his Theo actually earned. Eventually, the casinos compared notes and realized what he was doing, but by then he'd extracted probably $50,000 in comp value over what he'd actually earned. Now, all of this so far assumes you're playing at traditional casinos with traditional comping structures. But there is a 4th layer to this system that almost nobody talks about: new player bonuses and casino promotions, and how to stack them for insane value. Number 4, promotion, stacking. And new player exploitation. Every casino runs promotions, new player bonuses, slot tournaments, table game promotions, free play giveaways, point multiplier days. Most players treat these as random opportunities, playing them when they happen to be there. But if you approach promotions strategically, you can generate thousands of dollars in value with minimal risk. The foundation of promotion exploitation is understanding how casino marketing budgets work. Every casino has a marketing department with a budget to acquire new players and retain existing players. They allocate this budget across various promotions throughout the year. The promotions with the highest value are almost always new player offers, because acquiring a new player is worth more to the casino than rewarding an existing player. A new player might become a regular who generates tens of thousands in lifetime Theo. An existing player is already generating Theo, so there's less upside in over-rewarding them. This creates an opportunity. Become a new player at as many casinos as possible. Now, you might be thinking, "But I can only be a new player once at each casino." True, but there are hundreds of casinos. If you live within driving distance of 10 casinos, that's 10 new player bonuses. If you travel, you can hit new player bonuses at casinos all over the country. Here's what a typical new player bonus looks like. Sign up for a player's card, play for 2 to 4 hours, and earn free play ranging from $50 to $300, plus possibly a free room, free meals, and other comps. The amount of play required varies, but is usually designed to generate about $100 to $200 in Theo. So you might need to play blackjack at $25 per hand for 4 hours to unlock a $200 free play bonus. Now, here's the critical insight. That free play is real money value with zero expected loss. If you play blackjack for 4 hours at $25 per hand, your expected loss is only about $30, assuming basic strategy. but you earn $200 in free play. Even if you hit your expected loss exactly, you're up $170. And when you play through that $200 in free play, you're playing with house money. If you play it on blackjack with 0.5% edge, your expected loss on the free play is only $1. You can realistically walk away with $190 profit from that $200 free play, meaning your total profit is $160 on a $30 expected loss. That's a 5-to-1 return. But it gets better when you hit multiple casinos. Let's say you spend a weekend doing a 10-casino tour, hitting the new player bonus at each one. You spend 3 hours at each casino, you generate about $120 in Theo per casino. Your total Theo for the weekend is $1,200. Your expected loss is about $180. But you earn, let's say conservatively, $100 in free play at each casino. So that's $1,000 in free play total. Playing through that free play on favorable games costs you maybe $15 in expected loss. Your total expected loss for the weekend is $195. But you've generated $1,000 in free play value, even accounting for variance. You're likely to end the weekend ahead $500 to $800, and you've established player accounts at 10 different casinos that will now send you offers for months. This is not theoretical. I knew players who built entire gambling careers around new player exploitation. They'd travel around the country, hitting every casino in a region, collecting new player bonuses. One woman I knew hit over 60 casinos in 1 year, collecting an average of $150 in new player bonuses at each one. That's $9,000 in free play value. Her actual gambling losses for the year were maybe $1,200. She netted over $7,000 while enjoying free travel, free rooms, and free meals across the country. But the really sophisticated players don't stop at the initial new player bonus. They understand promotion stacking, using multiple promotions simultaneously to multiply value. Here's an example. A casino is running 3 promotions at once. First, there's a point multiplier day where you earn double points on all play. Second, there's a table games promotion where if you play 6 hours in a day, you get $100 in free play. Third, there is a monthly drawings promotion where every 100 points you earn gives you 1 entry into a $10,000 drawing. A regular player would just play normally and benefit from whichever promotion they happen to hit. But a sophisticated player structures their play specifically to hit all 3 promotions simultaneously. They choose point multiplier day to do their 6-hour table session, so they're earning double points while working toward the 6-hour free play bonus. Those double points give them double entries into the monthly drawing. They're stacking the value of all 3 promotions on the same play. Let me give you real numbers. Playing 6 hours of blackjack at $50 per hand generates about $450 in Theo. Normally, you'd earn $157 in comps at 35%, plus maybe 450 points at 1 point per dollar of Theo. But on point multiplier day, you earn 900 points. Those 900 points are worth 9 drawings entries and maybe an additional $90 in point redemption value. Plus, you get the $100 free play bonus for hitting 6 hours. Your total value is $157 in standard comps, plus $90 in points, plus $100 in free play, plus 9 drawings. Entries in the $10,000 drawing. That's $347 in direct value, plus lottery upside. All from $450 in Theo. That costs you maybe $67 in expected loss. You're getting 5-to-1 value. The key to promotion stacking is reading the fine print and understanding how promotions overlap. Some promotions can't be stacked. The terms will specifically exclude other promotions. But most promotions can be stacked, and casinos rarely make it clear when they can. You have to ask, you have to read the rules, and you have to plan your play to maximize overlap. Another powerful promotion strategy is what I call point acceleration. Most casinos have tiered players, club levels, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, whatever. Each tier gets better comp rates, better promotions, better offers. Most players organically move up through the tiers over months or years of play, but if you understand the tier thresholds, you can accelerate your climb dramatically. Let's say a casino's tier system works like this. Silver is automatic. Gold requires 2,500 tier points in a 6-month period. Platinum requires 7,500 tier points. Diamond requires 15,000 tier points. Tier points are typically earned at the same rate as regular points, 1 tier point per dollar of Theo. So, to Hichi Gold, you need to generate $2,500 in Theo over 6 months. That's about $417 in Theo per month, which is maybe 10 hours of play per month at $40 average bet. Most players would just play naturally and hit gold after 6 months. But here's the strategy. if you front-load your play and hit gold in the first month, you get elevated comp rates for the remaining 5 months. Gold might give you 40% comp rate instead of 35%, so your comp value for those remaining 5 months is higher. You're being rewarded more for the same play. Even better, many casinos run tier match promotions. If you're gold tier at Casino A, you can walk into Casino B and ask for a tier match. Casino B will give you gold status at their property based on your gold status elsewhere. Even though you've never played a hand at Casino B, now you're getting gold comp rates at Casino B without ever generating any Theo there. Play at Casino B for a few months and climb to Platinum. Now you can tier match back to Casino A, getting Platinum status there, even though you've never earned it. Through play, you've leapfrogged tiers without the Theo requirement. I watched players run tier matching chains across 4 or 5 casinos, climbing to the highest tier at all of them, while only seriously playing at 1 or 2. They'd get the top tier comp rates, top tier offers, top tier treatment everywhere, while only generating enough Theo to legitimately earn it at one casino. It's arbitrage, but with loyalty programs instead of financial markets. Now, let me tell you about the 5th and final layer of this system, the one that truly separates the amateurs from the professionals: loss, rebates, and reinvestment plays. Number 5, loss, rebates, and the reinvestment loop. Most players think about casino comps as rewards for play, but there's a category of offers that's far more valuable: loss rebates. Some casinos, particularly in highly competitive markets, will offer loss rebates as an incentive to bring in high-value players. A loss rebate offer might say something like this: play $5,000 in Theo over the weekend, and we'll rebate 20% of your actual losses up to $1,000. Do you see the difference? This isn't a comp for your Theo. This is literally giving you money back based on your actual losses. The mathematics of loss rebates change everything. Let's say you play blackjack all weekend and generate $5,000 in Theo. Your expected loss is about $75, 0.5% house edge, times 5,000. But you have a bad weekend and actually lose $500. Normally, that's just bad luck, and you're out $500. But with a 20% loss rebate, the casino gives you $100 back. Your net loss is $400 instead of $500. But here's where it gets interesting. What if you win? Let's say you have a good weekend and you win $300. The Theo requirement is still met. You generated $5,000 in Theo, but you don't get the rebate because you didn't lose. So the rebate only helps you when you lose. And when you win normally. This creates asymmetric payoff. Losses are cushioned, wins are not reduced. From an expected value perspective, this is incredibly favorable. Now here's how the professionals exploit this. They play on loss rebate weekends exclusively, and they play games with high variance. Remember how I said the casino rates you on Theo? Not actual results? That applies here too. If you play blackjack, you'll generate steady Theo with low variance. But if you play baccarat or craps, you can generate the same Theo with much higher variance. High variance means bigger swings, bigger wins, and bigger losses. With a loss rebate protecting your downside, you want variance. Let me show you with numbers. Player A plays blackjack all weekend, betting $100 per hand, playing 300 hands, generating $30,000 in Theo. Expected loss is $150. Low variance means their actual results will probably be between a loss of $500 and a win of $200. Let's say they lose $200. With a 20% loss rebate on their $200 loss, they get $40 back. Net loss, $160. Player B plays the same amount, $100 average bet, 300 hands, $30,000 in Theo, but they play baccarat instead. Same expected loss of $150. Baccarat has similar house edge to blackjack, but much higher variance. Their actual results could be anywhere from a loss of $2,000 to a win of $2,000. If they hit a bad streak and lose $2,000, the rebate caps at $1,000 in our example, so they get $200 back, 20% of $1,000. Net loss, $1,800. That's terrible. But if they win $500, they keep it all. And here's the key. Over the long run, their expected loss is still only $150, same as Player A. But Player A's rebate averages out to about $25 in value. Wheel Player B's rebate averages out to about $60 in value because it is only applied to the downside and the downswings are bigger. The math gets even better when you factor in that casino hosts will often negotiate higher rebate percentages for bigger players. A 20% rebate might be the advertised rate, but if you're generating $50,000 in Theo per visit, you can negotiate for 30% or even 40% at 40%. Suddenly, those loss swings are almost break-even when you factor in the rebate plus your comps. I knew a professional gambler who structured his entire strategy around loss rebates. He only played at casinos offering at least 30% loss rebates. He only played baccarat, betting large enough to generate $50,000 plus in Theo per weekend. His expected loss per weekend was about $500. But with a 30% rebate on losses up to $5,000, that's up to $1,500 in rebate value. His average rebate per trip was about $800 because his variance meant he lost big about half the time. So his net expected loss was actually negative. He expected to profit about $300 per weekend even, accounting for the house edge, purely because of the rebate structure plus his comps. He ran this play for 3 years across multiple casinos, generating over $1 million in Theo per year, and he netted about $45,000 per year in profit. Not life-changing money, but a nice secondary income for doing something he enjoyed. And the key was understanding the asymmetric payoff structure of loss rebates combined with high variance play. The final strategy I want to share is what I call the reinvestment loop. And this is how you turn modest bankrolls into serious comp value over time. The concept is simple. You use your comp dollars to fund additional play, which generates more comps, which fund more play, in a continuous loop that amplifies your value extraction from the casino. Here's how it works in practice. You start with, let's say, a $2,000 bankroll. You play blackjack for 10 hours, betting $50 per hand. You generate about $1,500 in Theo, earning about $525 in comps at 35%. Your expected loss is about $22. Let's say you break even, or win a little. It happens about half the time. You've spent basically zero. You've earned $525 in comps. Now, instead of cashing out those comps for cash or using them for non-gambling expenses, you convert them into free play or use them to cover your expenses while you play again with your bankroll. You come back next month with your same $2,000 bankroll, you play another 10 hours, you generate another $1,500 in Theo. You earn another $525 in comps. But this Chimi, you use your previous $525 in comps to cover your room and food. So your net cost is still zero, and you're building up another $525 in comp balance.